This is going to be a controversial opinion, but the Los Angeles Lakers were always cooked. Don't let the March run fool you. It just went from being slow cooked to being air fried, shipped out, and packaged in a plastic bag. Allow me to explain. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Box and One, a basketball YouTube channel slash podcast slash sports company, honestly created by roischand and Joachim myself. Today we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, right? This past weekend was not a good weekend for Laker Nation. Blowout loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is absolutely fine. The Thunder do that to everybody, especially this season. But then Luka Doncic, hamstring injury, grade 2 strain. Austin Reeves dealing with an oblique strain now. It's going to be LeBron and DeAndre Ayton hoops, right? And this is not 2018 LeBron 8 years ago. This is 41-year-old LeBron James with DeAndre Ayton as a second option. Probably Rui Hachimura as a third option. Luke Kennard, Marcus Smart, Maxi Kleber. You get my point. They don't really have a lot of guys to make this deep run. But the Los Angeles Lakers are currently third in the NBA's Western Conference right now, and that is a lot because of their March run, and specifically because of Luka Doncic, averaging almost 40 in the March month, averaging 37, 8, and 7. He was going absolutely insane this month, and he was putting himself in those MVP conversations. And we love to see that from Luka. Whether or not he wins or would have won, obviously he's not eligible anymore. That would have been up to voters and fans. I think, honestly, Luka's just in a really weird era, right? Because above him, you have Giannis and Embiid possibly and Jokic. And then his peers are like Shea and Tatum. And then below him, you have Wemby and you have Ant. And you have everybody else that's coming. And you have Cooper Flag there. And you just have all these guys who in a few years are going to be in MVP conversations. Like, Luka doesn't really have a chance right now to define his era. Does that necessarily matter? No, I'm not saying he will never win it, but that's just a little tangent. My point is, Luka was putting himself in MVP conversations. The thing about this Los Angeles Lakers team, though, is that there is no way to rely on Luka Doncic do him cuz offense to get you to a chip run. The Lakers don't have a bad bench, but let's look at the actual pieces you would be relying on with an 8-man rotation. So if we look at the starters for this Los Angeles Lakers team in the playoffs, you're probably running Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, LeBron, DeAndre Ayton, either Rui or Luke Kennard. That leaves you with Jackson Hayes, Marcus Smart, maybe Jared Vanderbilt. That's who you're running in the playoffs. And then also possibly Jake LaRavia if you wanted to extend that to a 9-man playoff rotation. So again, going into the playoffs, you're going to be running Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, DeAndre Ayton, Jake LaRavia, Luke Kennard, Rui Hachimura, Marcus Smart, Jackson Hayes. Does that scream NBA championship to anybody? Matter of fact, does that scream first round succeeder to anybody? Because you're probably playing Minnesota in that first round. And yes, the Lakers have beaten the Minnesota Timberwolves multiple times this season, but this is a Minnesota Timberwolves who are probably going to show you Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards, if he's healthy by the playoffs, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniels, Ayo Dosunmu, Bones Highland. That's probably what you're looking at, and Mike Conley is well off the bench if they need another facilitating PG. I don't think the Los Angeles Lakers beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, primarily because of the inside game. I don't think Ayton is going to be able to stop Randall plus McDaniels plus Reed plus Gobert. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Even if the Los Angeles Lakers got the 4th seed, let's say Denver went on a win streak, now you're playing the Houston Rockets as it stands right now, right? The Rockets and the Lakers have split games this season, but again, you're going against Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Shepard, Tari Eason, Josh Okogie, right? You're going against these guys that actually space out the floor, that can catch fire and have great shooting nights. And again, we got to remember, this is also the Los Angeles Lakers. For whatever reason, people shoot the lights out against the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think if Kevin Durant really gets in his bag and starts getting into the kill moves in his bag, anybody on the Los Angeles Lakers has the defensive tenacity to start him. Marcus Smart is going to do everything he can. I don't think he's going to stop him. I don't think in a guard matchup, outside of maybe Jared Vanderbilt, the Lakers have anybody to actually contain Amen Thompson. Now, yes, Amen Thompson does not have a jump shot, and that's something the Lakers can maybe exploit with zone. But still, can they do that over the course of 7 games? I personally don't think so. And you also have the matchup between DeAndre Ayton and Alperen Sengun. Ayton's going to get his buckets on Sengun, but Sengun, regardless about how you feel about him as a defensive threat, he's going to get more on DeAndre Ayton. When you look at the Los Angeles Lakers' actual path to a championship, it's clear that this was probably another season where maybe they can scrape by the first round depending on how much Luka Doncic is not contained. But realistically speaking, second round exit. You're the third seed. You're going to play San Antonio in the second round. You really want to tell me the Los Angeles Lakers were going to beat the San Antonio Spurs? Like, at most, this season ends with a second round exit. Braun probably leaves. He's either walking back to Cleveland, maybe going to New York. But if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you actually got to start building a roster around Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. And funny enough, you probably have to take the Dallas Mavericks playbook. 2024 Mavs, when you got PJ Washington, when you got Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Kyrie Irving, Derek Lively, Gafford, you gave him lob threats, you gave him 3-and-D wings, you gave him another ball handler that's already covered in Austin Reeves. But when we look at a guy like Jared Vanderbilt, he's not Najee Marshall or PJ Washington level. He's just not. He used to be an all defensive type of guy. He's run into a bad string of injuries and just being forced to play a brand of basketball in the Los Angeles Lakers. That's not his brand. He's been forced to be a two-way guy when he was a very one-way guy. The Minnesota Timberwolves had so many offensive options at that point. It was pretty normal for Vanderbilt to not see the ball a lot on offense because they could hide him on offense. You still had Cat, Gobert, and doing their thing. You still had a deep bench in that 2022 Minnesota team when it came to the playoffs. Obviously, they lost to John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, but still, that Timberwolves team, couple games away, couple blown leads away from being a second round team very easily. So Jared Vanderbilt, some of it is just him playing out of his role as a defender and a lockdown guy, which is his primary role. When we look at the Lakers, right, 8-2 in their last 10, 26-12 at home, 24-15 away, 116 points per game with 115 points allowed. This is a very mid team. I understand they're 15-27. I understand they have a 65 win percentage. But when we look back at that March run, where we really look back at who they were playing, you beat the Cavs, that's a good win. Then you beat the Wizards, you beat the Nets, then you beat the Pacers, you lose to the Pistons, then you beat the Magic. And I'm going in reverse, so these are all the more recent games. This is late March now. You beat the Miami Heat with Luka scoring 60. The Rockets wins, those are two really good wins back to back on the road, beating the Rockets 124-116 and 100-92. Those are really good wins. And I will say JJ Redick made great defensive adjustments against Kevin Durant, because the one thing KD still struggles with for some reason is a trap at center court. Luka heroics and Austin Reeves heroics, you beat the Denver Nuggets. That is a really good win for the Los Angeles Lakers. So it's not like they were beating bums. You beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, you beat the Knicks, then you have the Pacers, you lose to the Nuggets, you beat the Pelicans, you beat the Kings, you beat the Warriors, you lose to the Suns, you lose to the Magic, you lose to Boston, you beat the Clippers, you beat the Mavs, get blown out by the Spurs, lose to the Thunder, beat the Warriors, beat the Sixers, beat the Nets, lose to the Knicks, beat the Wizards. My point is, it's a really 50-50 split between winning against these elite teams and then also getting a couple of games against teams that are not that good. With that being said, the Los Angeles Lakers, they did put together a good streak of actually beating contenders. I will admit that. But when we're looking at a playoff series, it's way different from the regular season. And the lack of depth would have been exposed. And in all honesty, I just don't think it was sustainable. I'm not calling March fake. The Lakers definitely found their stride, but Luka Doncic went crazy. And I don't think going into April, going into May, Luka Doncic keeping that consistency up while dealing with playoff intensity and while dealing with the types of coverages, knowing that the Lakers may not have the best type of cutters or slashers or spot-up shooters. I just don't think it was possible. The Los Angeles Lakers were a second-round exit at best regardless this season, and I think it's time for them to retool. It's time for Pelinka in the front office to build around Reeves and Luka Doncic in a way that gives them a chance to sometimes just be facilitating guards instead of having to be Superman and Batman every night. The Bron era is probably over. You just got to start a clean slate a little bit. I still think the Lakers, Reeves and Luka, when LeBron was out, they were doing really good. And then when Bron came back in that Aaron Gordon role, it was really good. But at this point, you got to get your bang for your buck for LeBron, or just let him go and then bring in new people into the Los Angeles Lakers community, because at this point, you were cooked slowly. Now you got expedited cooked. You got to just figure it out and start over next season. With that being said, though, guys, that is going to do it for us today. Again, as always, if you enjoyed the Box and One content, a podcast created by roischand and Joachim Powell, make sure you follow all of these socials in the description for daily Box and One content. And again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you all in the next one.